Dear Jeff,
Yes.
I'd like to ask you for a short conversation which will be presented to Croatian students during physics class.
Good.
Okay, so first question goes like this. Well-known physicist, Nobel Prize winner, Feynman, said that during his musical performances around USA, he played bongos.
Yes.
The presenters would highlight where and when he performed, but never mention that he is a theoretical physicist. How would you announce yourself?
Wow. That's a nice, easy question at the beginning. I'm most certainly not a bongo player. I know that Feynman was very famous for playing very difficult rhythm. I would announce myself, so officially I'm CERN's teacher program manager. So I'm a physicist. I work here at CERN and I have the best job at CERN because I get to welcome and take care of all the high school teachers who come to CERN and make sure that they leave CERN well educated, happy and smiling.
Great. You are a physicist, obviously. It is not, if it's not too personal, can you tell us what inspired you to study physics and pursue a career in science?
Absolutely, this is. I'm more than happy to share that. I had a very, very good teacher. I had many good teachers, but at the age of 17, so 1 year before graduating from high school, I got a new physics teacher who was fresh from university, and we were his first class, and he was just fantastic. And then within 1 year, I not only saw how much fun physics is, but also how interesting and how much more there is beyond the school curriculum. And from then on, it was very easy that physics is the big love in my life. Yes.
Okay, that was an easy one. So the next set of questions: what is it like to be a physicist? Is it an ordinary job, like being a doctor or engineer or teacher, or is it a bit more similar to being an artist, driven by intuition, creative enthusiasm, and subjectively in describing the world? Is it subjective?
That's a tough question. Per se, I would agree that the latter is true. So that science and physics is more like art. But of course, we have to define what do we mean by the life of a physicist, because first there are so many different fields in physics and so many different jobs. And what I also don't think by now is true anymore, that if you are a physicist, that you are only working in physics. It's more interdisciplinary, and you're working in several different fields, and it really depends on the job. I'm pretty sure, I think my job at the moment is very much like a doctor, because I have my teacher programs, and it's a very, very routine job. But of course, physics per se, science per se, has a lot to do with art and with trying to figure out what nature has hidden for us. And so it really depends on what kind of field you are and in what kind of job you are. But physics per se is more than just, boring textbook facts. It's way more than that.
Okay, great. For some of our students, this fall will be their first contact with physics as a subject in school. If you had a chance to attend their first physics lessons, what would you tell them? What is physics? What does it do? How does it function? Or is there something else you would rather point out during their first encounter with physics?
Okay. Well, first of all, what is physics? Physics is the scientific discipline of trying to describe nature as we can observe it, or as how we can interact with it. We will probably never really know how it really is, but we can always try to best describe it with our models, with our theories, and then try to test them. So this is a very nice scientific method or methodology that we use. If I could say something to someone who starts learning physics, then first of all, I would tell them that it's a very beautiful field, but it's not easy, or let's put it this way, it's not easily accessible. Because sometimes nature is very difficult for us to understand and to comprehend, and also to get used to the language of science, which of course is mathematics. And so if sometimes we also see it's young kids usually don't really enjoy physics so much. But of course, that doesn't really concern physics. It's more that physics itself needs a lot of effort from the students to go there. So my recommendation, of course, is if someone doesn't really like physics in the beginning, then they should probably try and put more effort in it, because then they might see how beautiful it is. And of course, the moment someone understands something, not just in physics, but everywhere, if you understand something, this moment, it's such a beautiful emotional boost that I can highly recommend trying to look for something like this.
Okay, you made the introduction to my next question.
Oh, okay.
Students often say, why do I need this?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need to study things like physics? How would you respond to, what would be your response to this somehow destructive question?
Well, in our school system, the answer is very simple. They have to study it because it's in their curriculum. It's their school. But of course, that's not good enough. I mean, this is why they have to do it. The question why they should do it, maybe, is first of all, as I just mentioned, it's a beautiful thing to understand something, to figure out why certain things happen the way they do. Then, of course, there's the case that if you understand physics, you are more likely to have an easier way in life, because if you understand what could, for example, hurt you or not, then you will behave in a different way. So if you know physics-wise it's not very smart to drive very fast with your car, well, then you probably won't do it. So there's this thing to it. And if we go a little bit further, physicists or scientists are high in demand. It's so if you want to make sure that you will have a nice job perspective per se, then there's a good recommendation: study anything that concerns science. Doesn't have to be physics per se, but anything that has to do with science, because there are no scientists anymore. There are people who have scientific knowledge and they can apply it in various ways. So if you want to earn a lot of money, well, probably studying science could be for you, because then you might be able to apply it in, maybe not in science, there's not much money in science, but outside of science, there might be money.
Okay, thank you. What is, in your opinion, the most important experiment in history? Mm-hmm. And what do you think it will be in near future? Just for you. Mm-hmm. Wow. The most important experiment.
Wow.
Of them all.
That's, wow. Oh my goodness me. There is no clear answer for me, because there are so many important experiments over time. If I have to, oh my goodness me, if I have to picture one, I would probably, I think I would go for the Cavendish experiment, so determining the gravitational constant, because gravity is one of the things that we really don't understand at all. It's the one big question, especially in particle physics. I don't want to blame Einstein. Einstein gave us very good explanations for gravity, but in particle physics we are struggling. And so I think this experiment is a beautiful experiment per se, and also it gave us an idea of what gravity entails. But we have so little ideas, and that's very good, because that means we need a lot of students who can help us understand gravity. And if you ask me what will be the future experiments, yes. Well, obviously I'm very biased by everything we do at CERN, and of course I'm at the moment I'm majorly impressed by everything we do at CERN, especially with the Large Hadron Collider, for example. After all, it's the largest accelerator we have at the moment. But maybe in the future we might even have a larger accelerator at CERN, and then of course those experiments we can do with this machine, they will hopefully show us new ways into new physics, because that would be very interesting. Yeah.
Great. Now also introduction to the next question. What is the most important experiment ever here in CERN?
No, I think
not just one.
I think I have a very good, very diplomatic answer. Okay. I think the best experiment at CERN is CERN itself. It's not the physics. I mean, the physics that we do, that's beautiful. And if I point out one, all the others will be completely upset, and right so, because all of them are fantastic. But I think the experiment that CERN is, meaning to bring together bring together scientists, but of course also teachers, but scientists and engineers from all around the world to come here, and they don't work together to sell something or to make money. No, we come here to advance our knowledge, to push back the boundaries of our understanding. And we all work together for this one aim, to better understand the world. I think that is a beautiful experiment, and it's really a one of its kind in the world. And I'm hoping that this example that we are setting here can be used in many other places, because in my really, really strong belief, that's the most important thing. We have to think global, we have to work together, and we have to set aside all our differences to focus really on one thing, understanding the world, but also in the short and long-term future, make our world a better place for everyone, meaning tackle climate change, that's a big threat, and especially tackle the uneven distribution of wealth around the world. So those are things that I'm hoping smart people can use from our example. And so that's why I think CERN is the best experiment we have.
Excellent. Thank you for this conversation. And lastly, do you have a message for young people watching our conversation?
Well, I have many recommendations. The most important one is to stay curious, but that does not really concern physics per se. It's overall. I think if you're a curious person, you will experience more wonders in the world. Then, of course, there's this one nice sentence that I personally like a lot for myself. If you work hard, or if you work a lot, or at least if you're not lazy, and if you're humble, if you appreciate everything, then amazing things will happen. And I can just speak from experience. That's exactly how I experience the world. If you work a lot and if you're humble, then really amazing things are happening. And so that's what I keep saying to every young person who asks me that question. And so that's what I would say as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Okay, with pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.